What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Kart 6T3. My name is Ben, just so you know. I say that every time, but you never know who's going to tune in for the very first time to this channel and like, who's this dude? Why is he speaking to me? And what, in fact, is his name? But real quick here, before we even get started, if you didn't mind hitting a like on the video, possibly if you are one of those news people, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. I'm kind of trying to get this done. Of course, I slacked. I went to the one video a week thing. You would think I'd have all this time to get stuff done. I procrastinate just like anybody else. Supercross, this is Anaheim 1 is today. And just real quick here, Tomac, you probably can't hear me. Tomac, defending his #1 plate, the start of it this year. I'm really rooting for him. I'm also Ken Roxon being back on Suzuki. There's so many different, everybody at the first race looks so fresh, just like our type of racing, just like kart racing, beginning of the season, before anybody has any problems, before they have, an engine failure or, bend a cart up, get in an accident, tear up some bodywork, get in scuffles with people. Everything's new and shiny, and it's just like, who's going to be the best of the best? But, all right, for the, the video today, I thought I have to throw these in here every now and again for the new people. That's what this channel is about. This is, why I started this channel. Some people may have never done this, and today, we're going to change a spindle. So what I have here is a genuine Phantom racing chassis right front spindle. Brand spanking new, bearings, the whole nine. And we're going to put it on my 2022 Scythe today. So I have, I also, in my pockets here, because this is, I'm super professional. Edit this stuff out. Why would I? I'm just going to go and grab stuff out of my pockets. I'm going to do some recording with my GoPro as well as my phone. And I'm going to show you what it's like to change a spindle. For those of you who have done this a million times, hey, you know what it entails. But this, maybe there's a dad out there who's gotten his kids into racing and they bend a front spindle and they have no idea what they're looking at when it comes to changing something, what we consider to be pretty simple. Not everybody is mechanically inclined, and my job here today is to show you that anybody can do it. There are just some things that you're really going to want to pay attention to. So we're going to dive up quick here, maybe, and I'm going to do my best to get two angles. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm looking at my cart. That's, you guys can't see it. I'm looking at my cart. Pull it over here, see what I can do, get some tools around, and we'll see you in a second here. All right. Okay, everyone. I am all set up here. I'm doing my best with what I have, so please understand if everything isn't the best. I have my, I don't know if you can see me. All right. I got my GoPro on my head, so hopefully this footage, I'll be able to interlace the two. Something I wanted to show you real quick. Now, I'm not going to install these today only because I have to rebuild the whole cart. I'm going to be tearing the whole cart down, double checking everything before the season starts. But my company that I use, Phantom, they have these. I will be putting these in, so new Heims up top. I will be putting new spindle bolt all the way through, new washers, the whole nine. I'm replacing all this stuff. The only thing I'm basically keeping is the L block, and I'm going to check this bearing that's in the bottom of the L block here before I put everything back together. But to make for not a long video, I didn't want to go ahead and do that. It's something I'm going to be doing before the season starts. So again, we have our brand new spindle here that will be going on. Did I even grab the right one? Yeah, I grabbed the right one. Okay. So this is going in place of this. So what you're going to need are two sets of wrenches. You're going to need 9/16. Try and get a picture of that. 9/16. And then you are going to need, the squirrels are going crazy in my house here, or in my barn. We're going to need 3/4 for these upper and lower here. The 3/4 would also work for the top Heim if you were replacing that or making an adjustment here, but 3/4 here, 9/16 here. So first things first, you're gonna take your safety clips off or cotter keys. So mine's probably jammed in there pretty good. We're gonna remove that. And then on the bottom of my steering here, I actually have a cotter key and not a safety clip. Doesn't matter which one you know. The safety clips have a tendency to rattle, especially the smaller ones. So if you don't like that buzz sound that you get sometimes, you're revving your engine, maybe it's something you notice on track that you don't exactly care for. The cotter keys go through and they take up more of the hole, so when you bend them over, they have a tendency not to rattle like the safety ones do, but the safety ones are quicker. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and we're going to loosen this, and got my wrench on there backwards. Of course, I got a ratchet wrench here. Okay. Now, the basic premise of this, everything is put it back together the way you took it apart. So really pay attention to, is your tie rod, it's on, like this one, it is on the top side of the spindle arm. So we're backing this bolt out. Of course, it's all gunked up in the end because I haven't replaced these in a while. I have new tie rods to go on this as well. We're really freshening up because these components, this was, this is the size. So I built this from my 2017 Recon components, and a lot of these things have seen better days. There's a lot of wear and tear on them. I run UAS, although I don't run a lot of races a year. It's a lot of horsepower, a lot of G-forces. Things get worn and torn. So these, for instance, this was on the bottom side. Now, if I was doing a nice job here, other than just showing you guys how to do this, I would clean these up. I'd get all my nuts and bolts and my washers all nice and clean. And we're taking the 9/16 or the 3/8, I'm sorry, bolt out here, 9/16 head. And you're just going to take that out, or you can leave it in there. Now notice, when you take these apart, usually there's spacers. That allows, there are spacer washers in between here. That allows the Heim to actuate without getting bound up. You don't want, you might be able to get away with it, but when there's washers on there, it allows the Heim to do its job. So as this moves up and down, it's not just back and forth, it's you're moving on a plane. So it's allowing that Heim to do its job, and you want to have enough space in there that you allow that Heim to do its job. So we're going to set those to the side. Remember, the bolt went down through, spacer, washer on the bottom, nut. That's how that came apart. Now, secondly, I already took this out, so we're going to grab our 2 3/4. And this would be how you would make a cross adjustment. If you've, I'm sure one of my videos I've shown that. That's how you make a cross adjustment. You're going to remove the castle nut from the top. And there's always a washer on top. Well, trying to get the aim correct here. Okay, those go on top. And then basically you're just going to push down through. Now, when you're removing the kingpin here, be sure to grab your washers on top because they will go everywhere. I like to move the kingpin down a little bit, take the washers that were on top. This, at the track, if you don't want to change your cross percentages or anything, if you bend a spindle to kind of get it back to where you think it was, keep these separate. These, all right, those things go on top of the spindle. And remove the spindle. The kingpin will drop out sometimes, so I don't ever run a washer down here. I don't know why. It's probably because it once had one, and by changing cross, I probably dropped it at one point in time. But here is your old spindle. Now, this is coming along with me. This is going to be a backup, just in case, God forbid, something happened to me at track. I want to have a backup. We're going to put that to the side and take our brand new spindle here. Now, on a lot of these modern chassis, I mean, you know, this is an in general thing. Some of your older chassis are not going to have an L-block design. They're going to have a Heim and a Heim, or, you know, some other Coyotes are way different. They have a plate here, the older Coyotes. But what's going on underneath here is you have another Heim type bearing here, and then you have a wide spacer to keep everything off. And I had, you know, quite a bit of cross in this, so here's my 2 washers. They're still on there. Like I said, this is all getting cleaned and it's all getting replaced. We're going to take our Kingpin bolt again. We're going to slide that up there. We're going to take our brand spanking new spindle, and we're going to slide that up through, seeing this pop through. Now here's where that group of washers that you had before, you got to be very ginger and try and slide it up in there without scattering everywhere. And I'll be surprised if I was at track, these things would be everywhere already. But seeing as how I'm here, it's cold out here, everything's, you know, nothing's warm, zoop, slides right back together, no problem. If I was at track, those most definitely would have fallen on the ground. I would have been, you know, scrambling around trying to find all my washers. Okay, we're putting the castle bolt back on. What I like to do, just as a kind of a tip, is if you can find where your hole is in the Kingpin, I'll try and take this out. You probably can't see it. I do have my GoPro on, so maybe if the angle's correct. So the Kingpin hole for the safety pin is right in front of me, is straight on. So if you keep that oriented towards you, or if you want to do it to the front, however you see fit. But if you keep an eye on where that is, okay, and then put your 1 wrench on there, and then that way when you tighten on this castle nut onto the top, you don't lose where that was, and you can kind of line up the castles with where that goes. And in theory, whoop, that goes right back together. So, again, as I stated before, pay attention when you're taking it apart. Where did these things go? All right, when I took it apart, the bolt went down. It went down through the tie rod end. Okay, and then remember, we had our washers for spacing to allow that to move. And then I'm going to glance quickly. It was in the center hole of my spindle arm. And then we're going to put the nut and washer back on the bottom. And I take the time to tighten that up, but like I said, I'm going to be rebuilding this anyway. I have new Heims for the top. I have new control arms there, everything. This is gonna get stripped right down. It's gonna get cleaned. I'm gonna put some new belly pans on it. Go everything, make sure I don't see any cracks, any flaws, anything that I've done to it. It's a fairly new chassis. I don't have a lot of runs on it. Chances are everything is fine. It doesn't hurt. Take this time while you're off season to look over everything that you've done. And it's not a bad idea. I know it's a ton of work. I know that, some people are like, it's fine, it's fine. If you're curious why some of the people are constantly fast at the track, is because they do stuff like this. They are taking the time to look over everything off season. They're tearing their chassis completely down to make sure that everything looks perfect. That if things, go over things, make sure anything that needs replacing gets replaced. When you tear stuff down, when you put it back together, everything's tight. Everything's put together correctly. Or at least, you have an idea of, hey, okay, now this failed. I forgot that part, or this and that. It wasn't that you just overlooked something and it broke. So that's my theory on that. But we'll probably pop up top here. I'll give you a quick conclusion about what went on here. But basically, that is that. That is how one would change a spindle on a cart. Do you see how ridiculous I am? Do you see the things that I do for you guys? And we're back. Really not that hard to do. With the footage, I'm not quite sure, you know, once I go into editing, whether or not I'm going to do some voiceover or, you know, what I'm going to do with the footage, but I will try my best, guys, all right? I will try my best. One thing that you should know is if you're at the track and you have to change a spindle, it is what it is. Do your best to get your alignment correctly, to make it as straight as possible. If you have something like an AccuTow, you can, you know, break it out at track, get things lined back up. If you have scales set up, if you're, you know, that type of professional outfit that you actually carry scales with you, get everything leveled out, get it set before your next run on track. That's fantastic. If you have to do this at track, do the best you can. What I'm going to say is that if you change a spindle at home, please tow your cart. Also, set your camber, your camber caster and everything back to where it was. Don't just assume because you changed the spindle that everything's right back to where it once was. That's not the case. Sometimes your toe goes off. Maybe that's part of what got bent. Maybe you know, it was the arm that got bent. Maybe it was the actual spindle that got bent. Please rescale. You're going to want to set your toe and your toe in, toe out, your camber and caster. Make sure those are A-okay and all that. And probably wouldn't be a bad idea to scale to make sure that it didn't change from what you originally had on the cart. Like if it was working real well, you obviously want to go back to that point. You don't want to, you know, just throw caution in the wind, put it on there, and just hope for the best. You can do that at track, get through the night, that's fine. But if you get home, please try and do it properly. Rescale, do all those things, and it'll make for a better repair in the long run. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really hope you appreciate it, or I really hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you. Wow. You know, you would think after all these videos I'd be better at this. I'm not. So, all right. Thank you very much for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next week. Later.